The last 3 games, I think, against Burnley, we've conceded 2 goals. We've not won any of the last 3 home games against Burnley. It's a massive game for the players, massive game for them to show the mentality that they have shown over the last 13, 14 months. Because I think the attitude's been spot on, determination, the bounce back ability, the quality of not letting one defeat derail your season or lose the momentum, be straight back on getting points or a win.
The mood's good. I think the attention to detail is been the bit that we missed. Just on a couple of occasions we've been punished, and that can happen in the Premier League. As you said, 2 pretty strong performances, particularly the last one against Newcastle. But you've got to turn your performances into wins. We know that. You'd always take the lucky one, but I like the idea of performing right to win, and I think we've done that for quite a long period now. I think the consistency has been good. And as I suggested, the last 2 games that we've had after the break, we've only been lapses in the game. But it just goes to show you can't have them lapses in the Premier League because, all teams are good teams and they have good players. So you've got to stay on it for the full 95 or so minutes.
We talked about Phil Foden a little bit earlier on. There's nothing better than a local boy, a supporter of the club who comes through and has a career for the first team. What do you make of Mason Greenwood?
No, again, we're talking about somebody that, depending on the team around him, he's at the right club, in respects of nurturing him. The team around him and the way he progresses, he can be one of the greats at Man United and hopefully for England, simply because of the ability that he has. They see him as a striker. I see that. You can see that with some of with his movement. That there instantly getting himself there, and then the touch. It's like people will say, "Oh yeah, but that's fine." That touch was absolutely elite for what he's doing. He gets himself in a position where he runs off the shoulder. He's very. This one's the one. I really like this one as well. Watch him now. So he stops, and then now he goes again, in the middle of the goal. That's the kind of instincts you've got to try.
That's what I was going to ask you. Is it instinctive?
Well, that's something that he probably could easily be watching Cavani in training and see something like that. I think that would be very good for him right now, watching what Cavani does, because even that movement, he stopped for a bit. He was asking for the ball for a while, but then it clicked. I've got to go again, and get yourself in the middle of the goal. And he scored that goal just in front of Donny van der Beek, simply because he was there and he made himself get there quickly. But everything I see with him, with the ability, the way he went past the player at the end there to hit it past goalkeeper's right hand inside the post, is everything inside the box that you need as a striker. He needed to score more headed goals, and he's started to do that now.
He did talk about the coaching staff, but he also talked about playing with Cavani in training, or training alongside Cavani and learning from him there. How much, or what is that balance like in terms of playing with somebody who's in your position but much more experienced and having the input from the coaching staff as well?
For me, it's always been massive. I think to have players like Cavani in front of somebody to us who came through in the Premier League last year and took the Premier League by storm, basically, and the eagerness of him still wanting to learn from those people above him, and none other than Cavani. His movement in the box is exceptional, and for me, any striker to learn from that can move around the box is perfect. Like Dad said, with that chance there, when I was playing, they always said, try and always stay on the move within the box, because then you're hard to pick up. And it seemed like he realised that after waiting for a few seconds and went again, and he gets that goal. But to have Cavani there is great for him, and I'm really hoping he stays there for him.
Even with all of these, you look at Cavani, just look where he is. Look at where he is in the proximity of the goal. Look where he is, in and around the width of the post. That's experience. And like, you've got someone like Mason Greenwood who's playing with him on a daily basis. It's like a youth team player coming to play with the first team, and you play with the first team for a month. It's like you've put a whole year, 18 months, onto your learning process. So you look at Mason Greenwood, where if he didn't have someone like Cavani there, it would take him ages to probably learn those movements. You might watch it from somebody, but seeing it every day fast tracks you. And that's what you see with some of his movement now.
It's interesting with Cavani, because actually his shot conversion rate isn't great, but he has so many of them because of his intelligent play and because of his positioning. Whereas you could argue that Mason Greenwood was a more instinctive finisher.
Yes.
Who has to learn that side of the game from Cavani. They're almost like the reverse of each other.
Historically, Cavani has always been one of the best sort of movers. So he will always look like he can score a hat-trick and then will finish an okay amount. Whereas when Greenwood came during the Project Restart half section of 1920, if you're an XG person, it was, the shots he were getting, he should have scored about 3. He scored 10. And then I remember at the Athletic, it was me, Tom Warville, my friend, beat reporter Laurie Whitwell, were sort of all looking over a laptop, looking at this stuff going, is he doing something our computers can't figure out?
Yeah.
Or is it just a hot streak? And we sort of wrote loads of articles and went, there's going to be a bit where he will tail off, but there is something in how he shoots that means he should always be goodish.
Yeah.
So he's very two-footed, which is very, very useful. He's got that step-over technique that is okay. People say he's two-footed, can go both ways. He does tend to, if he does his right foot, that means he wants to take it right and then get a shot off. And if he does his left foot, he doesn't always go left and shoot, which is, I shouldn't have said that because now all the centre-backs are going to figure it out. So that's going on. I think what's interesting about Greenwood is he is playing on the right-hand side for most of these games. So he's not tracking back all the time because he wants to score goals. And it's that thing of when he doesn't, Wan-Bissaka has a little bit too much to do. And then when he does play in the middle and does get to play as a striker, he does move left and right quite a lot when you're going, I'd like you to stay forward. So he's got a lot on his plate. He's dealing with it quite well. I think what's also interesting is Ole Solskjaer had a season in 2002, 2003 where he had to play on the right-hand side. Yeah. So I think Solskjaer is also telling him, look, this is what it's like when you're a striker and you have to go wide right. So that goal, the goal for Cavani against Tottenham was Greenwood crossing it first time. So there was a moment just before where he gets the ball and tries to cross it, doesn't happen, and Cavani instructs him quicker, play it quicker. So when next attempt, he hits it first time. Greenwood's quite good at those first-time crosses, but he doesn't always do it because he wants the ball at his feet and he wants to carry it forward. So it's this weird thing of he's not only having to learn to be a very, very good winger so he can provide for Cavani, but he's also having to learn off of Cavani to be a very, very good striker. Yeah. Most players would buckle under that pressure, but he's doing it quite well.
Well, Manchester United look like they've secured a place in the Champions League for next season, second in the Premier League table, and they continue to win matches away from home, don't they, Jules? And also when they go behind as well. Where has that mentality come from in this team? Has that been inspired by the manager?
Yeah, I think so. I think the fitness that we spoke about in the Spurs segment, and we saw that last weekend, they were so good in that second half. Scott McTominay after the game said that the credit comes from the fitness coach, but also Ole Solskjaer. And they've got that mental strength that means they can come back from it. I think they got 28 points from losing positions this season. 28, that's pretty incredible. At Southampton, against West Ham, many games they were 1-0 down, 2-0 down at half-time and they would come back. So, I mean, they deserve a lot of credit. That away from 23 games in a row now in the Premier League, getting close to the Arsenal records. And I think we talked about momentums before of win brings you wins. And I think also that run in the Europa League has helped the momentum that they have in the Premier League too.
But talk about mentality, how does this side then and this manager, who's successful in his playing career winning the Champions League, get from a semi-final team, that's their 5th semi-final now of the season, how do you get from a team that's losing semi-finals to a winning team and to challenge for the Premier League?
Belief. And you just mentioned about, coming from behind so many games. They've got that belief now. They've got that they can go and win. They've got that they can go and challenge. Because you talked about, semi-final, how you're going to make them, not just getting there, it's about how you're going to make the next step. It's that belief. If you don't believe in a team as a manager, how are you going to push them? What messages you're going to put across? It's very difficult to get there. Because as much as you come to that stage of the season, tactically you've done everything through the season. In detail, you've worked everything, but what mentality they've got? Do they want to to make that step? And they want to. I mean, especially with Bruno Fernandes, he brings completely different dimension of the team. The mentality of, I want to go be there. I want to compete at the best possible level, and the best possible level is finals.
I just want to stand as a midfield player. I know we're moving a bit away from Burnley. You've got a great record, or Trevor. Haven't lost the last 4, won there last year 2-0. So if you play Fernandes as a 10, I think for United to go on to that next level, when you've got McTominay, who's been brilliant, by the way, but I think they need a number 6 who can pass the ball forward and be creative. Fred's done well, but I just think in that area, for United to challenge, they need a number 9 if Cavani leaves. Cavani's magnificent. A number 9 and a number 6 and a centre-half. The spine of the team, I think if they can get those 3 players, especially a 6 who can pass forward consistently, I think they've got a chance of competing for the title.
Yeah, because that's what Fernando is looking for. You're looking somebody to get him on the ball. So he don't have to drop deep. He don't have to waste energy. He don't have to get out of the zones where he can make a difference. Fernandes is about final third, getting the ball, half turn, create the final pass or go and score.
Yeah.
Have he managed to do that? No. Fred has done really well, but he's still young. He's still raw at that level, what is expected from him. And that's why they brought Matic there. So they thought that he could do that. But he hasn't been able to do it. So I do agree, they need this number 6, somebody who is more braver and more confident on the ball to look forward.
Are there any names across Europe that stand out that Manchester United should be targeting for that position?
I mean, Robbie and I had a debate not long ago about Declan Rice. I think Declan Rice would be a really good fit for Manchester United.
Don't upset the West Ham fans.
No, I'm sorry, West Ham fans. Robbie wants someone more who plays more with the ball, which I understand completely, and there's others in that position. For me, it's a number 9. If you go and sign Harry Kane for the sake of it, let's say, that's where you get to the next level. Bruno Fernandes took you to the next level, and you see just one player, how can that change? And for me to go from a semi-final team to a winning team, someone like Harry Kane, who will score you 30 goals a season in all competition, will help you to get there.
Okay. All right. What about Burnley? Can they breathe a sigh of relief? Are they safe, or do they still need some more points on the board?
I just love when I see Sean Dyche on the TV. He don't panic when they got the question. I know what I do. Don't ask me many more questions. We know what we're doing. But what Solskjaer mentioned about Burnley, it's about they've been very consistent because they've never gone into a bad spell. If they play, and so Dyche talked about, you know what, we know what we're doing wrong. We'll get it right. We don't go 2-3 games without analysing it, and you always get the performances. Yeah. His team is well trained. 4-4-2. We know what we need. We know the strength of the teams, and I'm confident that we're going to survive. And I love, like I said, I love watching. I was seeing him over there because I'm gluing to myself to the TV. I'm like, what is he going to say? Yeah. Let me listen, which is great. But as a team, I think he knows, and the team knows what to do and how to perform and get the best results.
Why do they tend to get good results against Manchester United? Robbie mentioned their record against them.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a strange one, isn't it? Because they seem to psychologically have that kind of edge and advantage over them, home or away, to be fair, especially more at Old Trafford, where they're usually solid. And then up front, Barnes and Wood, who... One of the issues of why they're so low in the table is because Barnes especially has been out for so much of the season, and I think Vydra is a good player, but nowhere near like as good as Barnes. But Barnes and Wood, and they just bully this United defence that they hate it. Maguire and Lindelof, if you come at them and are really strong and win those balls and the duels, I think that's why they are the edge. But it's a really strange one.
Do you think Burnley will be safe, Robbie?
Yeah, I think they will. Yeah. One more win, and I think they'll get that in the next games.
Okay, lovely stuff. Right, let's move on then and talk about the final games preview this weekend, which is coming up for you on Monday.